1. The power of silence in 10 situations from a Buddhist perspective. Silence is often overshadowed by the noise of our thoughts, words, and actions. We find ourselves constantly engaging in conversation, texting, or posting on social media, filling our lives with incessant dialogue. However, Buddhist wisdom reminds us that there are moments when silence is not only golden, but profoundly transformative. It teaches us to recognize the power of silence and wisely utilize it, especially in 10 critical situations. Journeying through Buddhist spiritual teachings takes us on an exploration to understand the significance of maintaining silence in these situations. These lessons offer profound insights that can inspire us to live a more meaningful, harmonious, and purposeful life. Let's delve into these ancient philosophical gems, embrace the peace of silence, and seek solutions for life's challenges. Situation 1. The strength of silence. Silence is more than the absence of noise. It is a deep human state. As the great Vietnamese Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh puts it, silence is essential. We need silence as much as we need air, as plants need light. If our minds are crammed with words and thoughts, we leave no room for ourselves. Buddhism recognizes this space and encourages us to nurture it in all aspects of our lives. Silence is the gateway to inner peace, mindfulness, and self-awareness. It gives us the chance to listen not just to the outer world, but, more importantly, to the whispers of our hearts and minds. Silence is a powerful tool that can transform how we interact with the world and navigate life's challenges. Situation 2. Silence in the face of anger. Always maintain silence when you are angry. This advice holds profound wisdom because anger is a strong emotion that often leads to negative outcomes. When we are angry, our words and actions are driven by this intense emotion and can lead to undesirable consequences. Buddhism teaches that anger stems from attachment, aversion, and ignorance. When we cling to our desires or resentments and fail to see the impermanence and interdependence of all things, anger can take hold. In such moments, silence is a powerful remedy. It provides the space to pause and reflect on the origins of our anger. It allows us to step back and observe our emotional reactions without immediate judgment or expression. Through silence, we can practice mindfulness and introspection, gaining insights into the root causes of our anger. Moreover, silence is a shield against the harsh words and actions often associated with anger. It prevents us from harming others and ourselves. In the silence of restraint, we can protect our relationships and create an atmosphere of peace and understanding. Situation 3. Silence amidst gossip and slander. Always keep silent when you hear gossip and slander. This lesson emphasizes the importance of conscious speaking and the consequences of engaging in harmful communication. Gossip and slander are like toxic arrows that can harm not only the subject but also the speaker. Don't become someone who specializes in gossip. Rumors can be incredibly damaging as they often do not reflect the whole truth. The story changes as it is passed from one person to another. You won't know whether someone started a malicious rumor or just misunderstood. Engaging in such sideline conversations also proves you are untrustworthy. When you spread others' issues or secrets, no one will trust you or dare to share their secrets with you. Let the rumor stop with you. If you have heard it, don't repeat it to anyone. If someone tries to involve you, leave the conversation. Situation 4. Silence during conflict. Always maintain silence during conflicts. Conflict is an unavoidable part of human interactions, but how we approach it can significantly impact the outcome. Buddhism encourages us to choose silence as a response to conflict, highlighting the role of mindfulness, compassion, and understanding in resolving conflicts. Conflicts often arise from differences in opinions, values, or interests, leading to arguments, hurtful words, and mental suffering. In such moments, silence can act as a soothing balm, allowing us to step back, reflect, and respond with wisdom and compassion. Silence in conflict is not about avoidance or suppressing one's emotions, but creating space for active listening, empathy, and finding common ground. By choosing silence, we allow ourselves and others to express without fear of judgment or escalation. Situation 5. Silence in witnessing others' suffering. Always keep silent when you witness the suffering of others. Compassion is the heart of Buddhism, and this lesson emphasizes the power of silence as a means to express compassion and offer comfort to those in pain. When faced with others' suffering, our immediate reaction may be to offer words of comfort or advice. However, Buddhism suggests that in many cases, silence is more profound and compassionate. Silence conveys our presence, empathy, and willingness to listen without judgment. Situation 6. When arguing with someone angry. Some people use anger as a way to force others to listen to them. Some struggle with their own sadness and hurt, while others seem to enjoy their anger because it makes them feel powerful. Regardless of the reason, avoid arguing with angry people. It won't lead anywhere, and getting too involved can attract their anger and worsen the situation. You can't win against anger when facing someone furious. One way to address their anger is through silence, refusing to engage in the argument. Another, more challenging approach is to respond to their anger with your kindness. Many expect that when they shout and get angry, you will also lose your temper, escalating the tension. However, when you respond with kindness, they are taken aback and unsure of what to do next. Situation 7. When tempted to overshare. Sometimes we share too much in conversations with others. Remember that revealing too much personal information early in any relationship can be inadvisable. It's better when your conversations are positive and light, steering clear of sensitive topics like religion, politics, and money. Give your friendship or other relationships time to grow before delving into more personal matters. Everyone needs time to decide whether they want to be friends. Silence is often better than haste. Situation 8. When you feel like complaining. Sometimes complaining can make you feel better. The appropriate time to complain is when you see something wrong that needs to be corrected or a problem that needs addressing, and others may not be aware of the issue. However, the problem is that complaining makes you focus more on the issue. You're wasting your time and energy, which you could have used to address the problem. Situation 9. When you don't know the answer. It's better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to speak out and remove all doubt. Abraham Lincoln. Silence is an excellent choice when you don't understand what's going on. It might be a debate about a topic you're not familiar with. Don't hesitate to share that you don't know much about that area. In fact, silence can be more valuable as it opens the opportunity for others to share their knowledge. Situation 10. When you're tempted to lie. Remember, once people discover you're lying, you'll never fully regain their trust. The exception to this rule is when it determines your personal safety. If lying is a way to keep yourself safe, you may choose to do so. However, most situations don't require this extreme. You also shouldn't engage in someone else's lies or schemes. It's best to protect your own honesty by staying silent or refusing to respond. In conclusion, Buddhist wisdom provides us with deep understanding of the transformative power of silence in 10 crucial situations: anger, gossip and slander, conflict, witnessing the suffering of others, and one's own suffering. In these moments, silence serves as a source of mindfulness, compassion, and personal growth. Silence is not a passive attitude or indifference, but a conscious choice to create space, listen, reflect, and respond with wisdom and compassion. It aligns with the principles of right speech, compassion, and non-attachment as described in the Eightfold Path. By maintaining silence in these situations, we empower ourselves to transform negative emotions, nurture compassion, and promote understanding, helping to protect our relationships, minimize harm, and contribute to a more harmonious and connected world. By learning to be present, listen deeply, and embrace the healing power of silence, we incorporate these teachings into our daily lives, embarking on a journey of self-discovery and personal transformation, moving closer to the Buddhist ideal of reducing suffering, developing mindfulness, and awakening to the interconnectedness of all beings. In the profound silence of these situations, we discover the space we need to live more mindfully, compassionately, and authentically. 2. In life, here are 10 moments when you should remember that silence is golden. Have you ever been close to success, only for a slip of the tongue to ruin all your efforts? Instead of regretting after the fact, here are 10 instances during negotiations, debates, or even everyday conversations where silence truly is golden. Moment 1. When the other party begins to contradict their own arguments. Many people fall into a loop because they choose the wrong debate strategy. They start off on one track but end on another, often finding faults in their own logic and rejecting their own proposals. For instance, a customer might start a negotiation by understanding why you can't lower your prices, only to then ask for a smaller discount, eventually convincing themselves that even that is too much. In this situation, the wisest move is to remain silent and let the other person fall into the trap they've set for themselves. Moment 2. Right after you ask a question. Many people ask questions but are impatient, barely waiting for the answer before they jump in with their own opinion. Sometimes they don't wait at all, rushing you to respond with quick agreements. Right, go on. When they're seeking advice, what they really mean is, skip to the part where I tell you what to do. Don't be like them. Just as legendary baseball star Yogi Berra said, you can observe a lot by just watching. You too can learn a lot by listening. Moment 3. When the other party is wrong. A lawyer once told me about a client's company sale negotiation that went smoother than anticipated, all because a young, promising MBA holder on the buyer's side made a simple calculation error, inflating the deal's estimated value significantly. The lawyer was worried until she realized that the best course of action was to remain silent. By doing so, she didn't breach her duty by providing the buyer with incorrect information, nor did she jeopardize her client's deal. The lesson here is that you're not always obligated to correct someone else's mistake. Moment 4. When you don't understand what you're talking about. Silence can make things feel heavy and suffocating, so we often rush to break it by saying anything. A civil litigation lawyer shared that he exploits this human psychology during depositions. Even if it seems like the witness has finished answering, he'd act as though waiting for more, prompting them to continue talking and dig their own grave. You should never try to break the silence, especially when you don't know what to say. Moment 5. When you want someone else to take responsibility. U.S. President Truman once said success comes to those who are indifferent to who gets the credit. Instead of fighting to the end to defend your opinion, sometimes if you remain silent long enough, others will consider your suggestion and propose it themselves. Moment 6. When you're showing off. Log into any social media and you'll be inundated with pictures of delicious meals, exciting vacations, and romantic love stories from your friends. Is this simply sharing daily life, or is it bragging? If you find your social media updates lean more towards the latter, perhaps it's time to be quiet. Moment 7. When your words aren't sincere. A colleague is excited about their weekend getaway plan. Before you rush to suggest a better destination or a more suitable time, ensure your advice genuinely aims for them to have a wonderful vacation, not out of jealousy or personal vanity. Moment 8. When you want someone else to improve. If you have a child in elementary school, you could easily solve their homework in no time, but what good would that do? They need to figure out the answers themselves to truly understand and remember. This applies in many other situations. Instead of immediately answering a question sometimes you need to step back and let others come up with the solution. Moment 9. When you're not good at storytelling. You love to tell stories, sharing everything from how you met your current partner to what your cat ate this morning with someone you've just met. However, even if you're engrossed in your story, you might notice the listener appears distracted and uninterested. This is a sign they're not into your story. It's time to wrap it up and stop rambling. Moment 10. When you're about to start a speech. Try beginning your speech with an unusually long pause. This will make the audience anxious on your behalf. Are you forgetting everything you prepared? Are you about to panic? Then, when you finally speak, at least a few people in the audience will sigh with relief, ready to support you through your speech. This technique, used by Winston Churchill, is especially useful when you're debating in front of an audience and need their support. 3. 3 benefits of silence. Silence is a language, a delicate response. Understanding its profound meaning can teach you the 3 most valuable lessons in life. Benefit 1. Silence for absorption. When others insult or slander you, don't get angry. If they are right, express gratitude and work on improving yourself. No one is perfect, so never deny your flaws. Also, do not react with anger when hearing opposing opinions, no matter how harsh the language may be. Remember, responding to bitterness with bitterness only perpetuates resentment and hatred. Sometimes, those who insult and criticize us end up being our greatest benefactors. Benefit 2. Silence for forgiveness. If someone wrongs you, even to the point of humiliation and taking everything from you, remain silent and forgive. Life is full of suffering. Some wounds inflicted by others may seem never to heal. However, holding on to resentment won't change the present. Insulting back won't bring a sincere apology. The grudges you hold only serve to further corrupt your heart. Therefore, instead of using words, act in a way that those who underestimated and harmed you will eventually respect and feel ashamed. Benefit 3. Silence for maturity. Life is inherently difficult for everyone. While sharing your sorrows is necessary for peace of mind, speaking too much, especially to the wrong person, can make you appear weak or feeble. Worse, your pain might become gossip fodder for others. No one can understand your pain as well as you do. Sometimes, silence helps you find tranquility and prevents others from being burdened by problems that aren't theirs. Put aside your ego, peacefully observe life, accept your shortcomings, and forgive all grievances. This is the core value of silence. Achieving this signifies true maturity. 4. Inner peace and silence. When we think of silence, it often conjures up feelings of loneliness, sometimes a sense of defeat or moments of deep unease. Yet for those who follow religious paths, particularly Buddhism, moments of silence are crucial for spiritual life amidst the noise of everyday existence. Losing touch with our inner silence means losing touch with ourselves. Once we lose touch with ourselves, we risk losing ourselves in a world of appearances. During these quiet times, I have pondered the meaning of silence. It's astounding how difficult it can be for many of us to simply let ourselves be silent, meaning truly shutting off the external voices, demands, and impulses that keep our thoughts and reasoning in a constant whirl. We live in a world filled with too much stimulation, too much noise. I often remind myself, it's surprising to actually hear my own thoughts amid the surrounding cacophony. In our daily lives, recognizing our true self, our essence, cannot be separated from silence. Silence is our true essence. What then is silence? It is the space within us, the capacity of awareness from which the words on this page become concepts and thoughts in our minds. Without this capacity for awareness, there would be no concepts, no ideas, no world, and we would lose sight of our true essence, getting lost in the world of appearances. This means chasing after gains and losses, competing, indulging in addictive habits to fill the void and pain of someone who has lost their roots. We lack within, yet we seek outside for something to fill the emptiness. Silence is not merely the absence of sound, not just the lack of voices in our head, feeling as if being alone is enough, comfortable and at peace without needing anything else. True silence comes from within, not from external quiet. Silence is important because it is in this void that everything else can be accommodated and flow in. Human ears are accustomed to noise, and too much quiet can become unbearable because it awakens much inner unrest. Yet, silence is the connection to our very selves. When we understand and are close to our inner selves, we never feel unrest. Only when we are agitated, when our heart is not at peace, feeling like something is happening beyond our control, do we experience anxiety, turmoil, and conflict. The secret to silence is to do one thing at a time, focusing solely on that task. Almost all of our mind is concentrated on that object. Such intense focus makes us feel as though we are truly listening to others. We cannot genuinely listen to what others say when our minds are filled with thoughts. We hear the sounds but miss the deeper meanings. Our silence has a tremendous energy, a profound impact on those before us. If truly silent and attentive, this energy is usually positive, showing care, attention, and healing to others. This is the majestic silence, the silence of the heart, of the soul. The voice of the inner self is silence, a profound internal silence to quiet the screams of desires and the external world penetrating our consciousness. When the inner voice guides our spiritual growth without clinging to anything in life and without harboring resentment towards anyone existing, then our heart truly finds silence, a silence that allows us to perceive everything. When we sit alone and do not feel lonely, bored, or sad, as Nguyen Kong Tru once said, "Staying home, I wish to leave. Leaving, I wish to stay home even more." In today's modern life, although more convenient, people seem to be more tired, suffering, and lonely. Despite having more needs met, people seem to suffer more. In a world full of internal and external turmoil, it's crucial to allow our minds to rest, which means settling down, thinking more slowly, and this can only be achieved through quiet meditation and contemplation. This ceaseless internal turmoil, combined with a fast-paced and busy external life, can be a recipe for disaster. Our culture makes it difficult to find silence. We must sacrifice much to counteract the fear of silence. Many people, in pursuit of a comfortable life, are busy from dawn till midnight, with no time for themselves to be quiet and reflect or to experience this world. When the heart is not calm, even if opportunities arise, they only bring fear and endless loneliness. This kind of quiet is no longer a moment that brings joy and peace to the mind, but only pain and emptiness. Let's put aside the worries of life, listen to the voice within our souls and converse with it to live a life of quiet quality. The more tranquil a person's inner self is, the more powerful they become, making success easier in everything they do. Moreover, the inner self is also very resilient, not easily fallen by external criticisms. Everyone has their own life and within it, countless ways to live. Some choose to stay happy and detached from everything, others dive in, and some are ready to take risks for their passion. Life is harder than we think, not always happy and joyful. There will be times we feel pain, want to cry, and fall. The world is chaotic and complicated. Every step we take makes us ponder because we don't know how to do it right to not stray. But just believe. Close your eyes and be quiet for a moment. Think carefully, and we will find the goal that makes us want to persist and move forward. Then, the world will give way to us, and we will find the right path for ourselves. The voice of the inner self is always the most honest voice. It has the power to guide our hearts to live with love, connect with others in the cycle of life. From there, our minds are truly enlightened with wisdom to transform many miracles for ourselves and elevate life. 5. The power of silence. Living and walking on this earth is a miracle, yet most of us spend our lives chasing happiness in some distant realm, as though there's a better place out there waiting for us. We invest so much time in the pursuit of happiness, while the world around us is filled with mysteries. The beauty of nature calls out to us every day, every hour, yet we seldom hear it. The essential condition for us to hear and respond to these calls is silence. Without silence within ourselves, if our minds and hearts are filled with noise and chaos, we cannot hear the beauty that beckons. There's a radio inside our heads, constantly broadcasting thoughts without pause. Our minds are filled with noise, preventing us from hearing the calls of life, love, and our own hearts. We don't make time to listen to our hearts. Mindfulness is the practice of quieting the noise within us. Without mindfulness, we can be pulled in many directions, such as regrets and sorrows from the past. We revisit memories, reliving pain and suffering, becoming trapped in the prison of the past. We can also be pulled by the future. Those who worry and fear about what's to come are imprisoned just as much as those caught in the past. Fear, worry, and confusion prevent us from hearing the call to happiness, making the future another type of prison. Even when we try to be present in the moment, our minds wander, feeling empty as if there's a vast void within us. We may wait and hope for something to happen that will make our lives more exciting, looking forward to something that might change our circumstances because our current lives seem dull and uninteresting. Mindfulness is often described as a bell that reminds us to stop and listen in silence. We can use the sound of a bell or any signal to remind us not to be carried away by external noise or the noise within. Upon hearing the bell, we stop, breathe in and out, creating space for silence. We can tell ourselves, breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing mindfully, focusing only on our breath, we can quiet all internal noise, the monologues about the past, future, or desires. Just a few seconds of mindful breathing can awaken us to the fact that we are alive and breathing. We are here, we exist. The internal noise instantly disappears, replaced by a vast and profound space. It is powerful and magnificent. We can then respond to the beauty around us. I am here, I am free, and I am listening. What does it mean to be here? It means I am alive. I am truly present because I am not lost in the past, the future, thoughts, or noise, either inside or outside. To be truly present, we must be free from thoughts, worries, fears, and desires. I am free is a powerful declaration because, in truth, many of us are not free. We lack the freedom to listen, to see, and to be present. At Plum Village, a practice center in the south of France, we practice noble silence. The practice is simple. Speak when necessary, but during other activities like eating, walking, or working, we do just those things. We do them in noble silence, joyfully. This way, we are free to hear the deepest calls of our hearts. Recently, we had an outdoor meal with both monastics and lay people. Everyone took their food and sat together on the grass. We formed concentric circles, a smaller one inside and a larger one outside, in complete silence. We did not speak. I was the first to sit down. I sat and breathed mindfully to establish silence within myself. I listened to the birds, the wind, and enjoyed the beauty of spring. I didn't wait for everyone to sit down to start eating. I just sat, relaxed, and enjoyed the scenery for about 20 minutes while others fetched their food and sat down. There was silence, but it wasn't as deep as I had experienced before, perhaps because people were distracted while getting their plates and food. I sat in silence and observed. I had a small bell with me, and when everyone was seated, I invited the bell. Since everyone had been practicing listening to the bell and breathing mindfully all week, everyone listened very seriously. After the first mindfulness bell, the silence was completely different. It was true silence because everyone had stopped thinking and focused their attention on their breath. We breathed together in silence, and this collective silence created a powerful energy field. Such silence can be called thunderous silence, for it is both powerful and strong. In this silence, I could hear the wind and the birds more clearly and vividly. Before, I also heard the birds and the wind, but not like this because the silence had not reached its deepest level. Practicing noble silence to dissipate the noise within us is not difficult. A little practice can achieve it. 6. Roots and blossoms. Once upon a time, there was a young man who always liked to boast about himself in front of others. One day, his master took him to a tree and asked, "Do you think the top of this tree looks beautiful?" "Of course, the blossoms are so fresh and beautiful," the disciple quickly replied. Just then, a gust of wind blew, and the tree made a rustling sound. The master then asked, "Did you hear that?" "Of course, the sound of the tree is so clear and pleasant," the young man replied hastily. "But do you know what the top of the tree is called in Chinese?" "It's called mat," the master said, and then pointed at the base of the tree. "Do you see the roots of the tree? Do you hear any sound from the roots?" The young man furrowed his brows and answered, "Well, the roots are buried in the ground. How can I see them? Moreover, the roots are silent. How can I hear any sound from them, master?" "But do you know what the roots are called in Chinese?" "They are called ben," the master explained. This means, although the blossoming top can be flashy and catch the attention of those around, it is very fragile and a strong wind can easily break it, leaving it worthless afterwards. However, the roots, though silent and even buried under the ground, are the foundation of life. Without them, there would be no tree, no leaves, branches, and of course, no blossoms to show off in the wind. Do you understand my point? The young man bowed his head, nodding slightly, grasping the profound lesson from his master. From that day on, he became more reserved, spoke more judiciously, and especially never boasted in front of others again. 7. For a mind as calm as water, understanding letting go is key. A Zen master once said, "To achieve a mind as calm as water, the essence lies in the ability to overlook the disturbances of fame and fortune and to cast away the disruptions of desire. Therefore, to accomplish this, one must know how to let go." Indeed, in a world constantly divided by conflict, many people's minds are not at peace, and their spirits are unsettled precisely because they place too much importance on themselves. A tranquil mind can give birth to wisdom. A mind as calm as water is a sign of elevated intelligence. In the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, There's a story about Zhuge Liang's empty fort strategy during his defeat at Qishan. Upon hearing that Sima Yi was leading a force of 150,000 soldiers to attack West City. At that time, Zhuge Liang had merely 2,500 troops to defend the city. However, instead of panicking, he calmly played the lute with two young boys by his side, leaning against the city's balustrades. When Sima Yi and his troops arrived at West City and saw this scene, they were puzzled. After listening to Zhuge Liang's lute for a while, Sima Yi ordered a quick retreat. Zhuge Liang's calm and unruffled lute playing had frightened Sima Yi away. This is akin to being unfazed, even if Mount Tai crumbles before your eyes or a deer dances at your side, your expression remains unchanged. Such an extraordinary demeanor is certainly not something an ordinary person can achieve. 8. The Zen Master's Silence. It was late at night, and the old Zen master noticed a chair next to the monastery wall. Instantly, he realized that a monk had broken the rules by climbing over the wall. Quietly, the master walked toward the wall, moved the chair aside, and sat down right there. Shortly after, there was a noise from the outside, and a young monk climbed over the wall, stepping on the Zen master's shoulders before jumping into the courtyard. Upon landing, he was shocked to discover that he had not stepped on a chair but on his own master. The young monk was petrified, unable to utter a word, standing still, awaiting punishment. Contrary to the young monk's expectation, the master did not shout or scold, but instead spoke gently. "It's late, and it's cold. Put on more clothes." The young monk felt deeply ashamed and vowed never to sneak out again. He committed himself to his studies and eventually became a renowned monk of his time. 9. How to handle criticism and feedback. There's an old saying, "Let it roll off your back like water off a duck's," meaning whether others insult you or praise you, it doesn't pay to get too worked up about it. This adage originates from a story told by the philosopher Zhuangzi. There was a man who considered himself wise, named Shi Chengqi. He often heard people praising Laozi for his supernatural wisdom, so he traveled a long distance to meet Laozi. Upon seeing Laozi's messy home resembling a rat's nest, he angrily exclaimed, "Everyone says you're a sage of great wisdom, yet after traveling hundreds of miles to see you, I find you're no better than a rat." Laozi, hearing this, showed no reaction. After Shi Chengqi finished his rant, he left. The next day, feeling guilty, he came back to apologize to Laozi. Laozi calmly responded, "Sage or no sage, such titles mean little to me. I discarded them like old shoes long ago. If I have truly grasped the great Tao, then whether you insult me as an ox, a horse, or a rat matters not. I remain who I am." Living in this world, it's hard to avoid being the target of someone's anger, criticism, or even slander. If such things provoke your anger, it's hardly worth it. Buddhist teachings suggest that one should be unmoved by criticism, as if unaffected by winds blowing from any direction. Reacting vehemently to slander only perpetuates the cycle. Better to stand firm and unaffected, as if water off a duck's back. Zhuangzi once made an interesting analogy. The empty boat. If you're rowing a boat and another boat collides with yours due to the other sailor's poor navigation, you're likely to get angry. But if that boat is empty, blown into yours by the wind, would you still be angry? A common ailment among people is putting too much emphasis on oneself, taking oneself too seriously, as if the center of the universe. Overvaluing oneself can lead to disputes with others. Adopting the empty boat mindset can reduce contention and anger in life. Many things in life cannot be resolved by anger. Letting go, not seeing oneself as the center, can easily dissolve conflicts. 10. The beggar who wished to replace the Bodhisattva. A beggar happened upon a bustling temple out of curiosity and ventured inside. There, he looked upon the main altar and saw a Bodhisattva sitting serenely on a lotus pedestal. The beggar asked the Bodhisattva, "May I take your place?" The Bodhisattva replied, "You may, as long as you sit here in silence." The task seemed simple enough, so the beggar eagerly agreed and took his place on the lotus pedestal. Before him unfolded a world of chaos and strife, with people praying for this and that, never resting. However, remembering the Bodhisattva's condition, he remained silent and spoke not a word. One day, a wealthy man came to pray. "Please grant me beauty of character," he pleaded, bowing and kneeling repeatedly. Unfortunately, his money pouch fell out, unbeknownst to him. The beggar thought to warn him, but then remembered the Bodhisattva's advice and held his tongue. After the wealthy man left, a poor man arrived saying, "Please help me, grant me some money. My family member is seriously ill and we have no money for treatment. I'm in desperate need." After his prayer, he found a pouch of money next to him. Overjoyed, the poor man exclaimed, "The Bodhisattva is truly miraculous." With the money, he quickly departed. The beggar, witnessing all, was about to clarify that it wasn't a divine act, but the wealthy man's lost pouch. Yet he recalled the Bodhisattva's words and remained silent. Then, a fisherman came to pray for safety at sea, to be spared from storms and high waves. As he was about to leave, the wealthy man who had lost his money returned, accusing the fisherman of theft, leading to a violent dispute. The beggar could no longer hold back and shouted, "Stop!" He then revealed the whole truth, and the matter was resolved peacefully. After settling the dispute, the Bodhisattva asked the beggar, "Do you think your intervention was correct? Perhaps it's better for you to remain a beggar. You spoke the truth, believing it was just, but you didn't realize the consequences." The poor man could have used that money to save a life. The wealthy man lost an opportunity to do a good deed, and the fisherman, due to his delayed departure, avoided a potentially fatal journey at sea. If you had remained silent, the poor family would have had the means to save a life. The wealthy man would have done a good deed despite his loss, and the fisherman's misunderstanding could have saved him from a perilous journey. Hearing this, the beggar bowed deeply, understanding the complexity of his actions, and quietly left. Lesson from the story: the complexity of silence. Silence seems easy but requires profound wisdom to practice correctly. This story teaches us to let things take their course, as everything will find its best arrangement naturally. Sometimes our well-intentioned actions might not lead to the best outcomes. As we navigate through life, what seems beneficial might turn harmful, and vice versa. This unpredictability is the beauty of life, where not everything can be foreseen. Thus, observing the world in silence can also be a form of wisdom, allowing us to live harmoniously with the natural flow of life. 11. The Tale of Grandmaster, Daixing's Unexpected Child. In the culture of ancient sages and revered monks, there's a tale as intriguing as it is profound, involving Grandmaster Daixing and a young woman named Tring. This story unfolds during a time when Grandmaster Daixing was deep in meditation in the mountains, beneath which lived a wealthy family with a daughter, Tring. She was previously engaged to a nobleman but became pregnant and gave birth to a boy, bringing shame and anger upon her family. Under immense pressure, Trin declared that the father was none other than Grandmaster Daixing from the mountains. Enraged, her father led a mob to the monastery, disrupting the peace with accusations and demands that Daixing take responsibility for the child. Daixing accepted the boy without protest, uttering a calm, "Amitabha Buddha." This event tarnished his reputation entirely, subjecting him to mockery and disrespect everywhere, even within his own monastic community. Yet he voiced no complaints, diligently caring for the child who quickly grew healthy and bright. 3 years later, Ngok Trin's family approached Daixing, not with scorn but with apologies, requesting to take the child back. It was revealed that the child's true father was Ngok Trin's actual husband, the very nobleman from her past. Ngok Trin had falsely accused Daixing to protect her husband's honor. Daixing, ever serene, handed over the child with a respectful bow, saying Amitabha Buddha before returning to his meditation chamber. For 3 long years, Daixing chose silence over justification, embodying a lesson more profound than words could convey. It is believed that enduring injustice and dishonor without complaint is not only a legally protected right but a moral one, reflecting the balance of justice in society. However, the enlightened sages teach that all worldly accolades and grievances are as fleeting as clouds. True peace comes from regarding honor and disgrace with equanimity, allowing one's inner state to remain calm. Thus, in loss or gain, honor or disgrace, one who maintains an unshaken spirit and a pure heart truly understands the essence of transcendent wisdom. This tale, more than anything, illustrates the virtue of inner peace amidst the storms of worldly judgment and the transient nature of fame and fortune. 12. The King and the Monk. Once upon a time in India, there lived a renowned monk deep within a peaceful forest, far removed from the world's clamor. He was a deep meditator and widely celebrated across India. One day, a king came to him and said, "Honorable monk, I constantly feel tired, angry, and troubled. My mind is chaotic despite having everything, wealth, fame, and all the luxuries one could wish for. Yet, I lack inner peace. Please, help me rid myself of this turmoil." The monk replied, "You already hold the answer within, yet you have never explored it. I propose an experiment. Would you be willing to participate? After this, your life will no longer be plagued by unrest and worry." The king, though distressed by this notion, inquired about what he must do. The monk gently said, "For the next 15 days, you will live in my monastery and lead a simple life. During this time, you will sit alone, maintain silence, and speak as little as possible." The king agreed to the monk's plan. On the first day, he found his mind more restless than usual. Questions and thoughts emerged, and he felt uneasy. He had a strong desire to speak but restrained himself and remained silent, sitting still. However, as night fell, he began to experience a peace and happiness he had not anticipated. This experience confused him as he could not understand why his chaotic mind was gradually calming. The following days, the king continued to spend time alone, observing nature, the flowers, and the birds. For the first time, he truly appreciated the beauty around him. He was able to observe and connect with the natural world. 10 days passed, and the unease and chaos within him gradually dissipated. On the 12th day, he found himself deep in meditation as his eyes closed on their own. After spending the last 3 days in deep meditation, he approached the monk and said, "Honorable monk, I have discovered why my mind was so restless." He explained, "I realized that I often spoke too much and expended a lot of energy on others, often thinking negatively about them. Excessive talking and negative thinking wasted my time and cluttered my mind. This behavior prevented me from performing my duties efficiently, and I started failing in everything. Continuous failures made me more depressed and irritable. This negatively impacted my life. However, these 15 days have been transformative. Now, I truly feel that I am living life correctly and realize that I had been living it wrongly. I also realize that meditation doesn't need to be forced. It happens naturally." The monk spoke softly. "It's not just you. Many people in the world speak too much. Nowadays, many use words to harm others, and this excessive talking is still causing problems in their lives. He shared with the king the importance of silence and told a story about a disciple who asked Buddha why he often remained silent. Buddha replied, "I maintain silence to delve deeper into myself. Silence is the first step to truly understanding oneself. Without silence, self-discovery is impossible." The monk continued, "It's not just you. Many people talk too much. Many problems could be avoided if people remain silent. Someone who understands the value of silence can find peace, even in crowded places. Being alone can feel like heaven, while the presence of others sometimes makes us uncomfortable. The most important thing is to start by seeking peace within oneself and embracing silence. Invite your thoughts to pause. If you wake up feeling troubled by the presence of others, close your eyes and reconnect with yourself. You will feel refreshed because life stems from within, not from others. When no one else can bring you inward, you must do it yourself. Thus, look within because you are the master of your inner life. That is where life begins, and that is where happiness is born. When you look within, you touch the depths of life and even sense the movement of death. This inner journey is like watching your life through its ups and downs, like the sun rising and setting. Each time you embark on this inner journey and return, you feel renewed. It's like the cool sensation after a refreshing bath. Similarly, when someone spends time in silence, reflecting on their thoughts, they often feel more peaceful and happier afterwards. When you truly connect with your inner self, talking doesn't confuse your mind. Instead, there's always a sense of inner peace. You can speak while maintaining a connection with your inner self. You can use words without losing inner peace. Doing so, your words will have a quality like music, and everything will harmonize beautifully. Such speaking deeply touches the soul of others. When you maintain inner silence, you access a powerful inner strength and free yourself from social pressures. You will find a special joy in life, similar to the joy of those pursuing their passions. Your face will radiate a new light, and your eyes will sparkle with a unique brightness as you immerse in an endless ocean of peace. You may realize that talking too much does not bring peace to the soul. Instead, it makes controlling thoughts and maintaining focus difficult. Those who talk too much often struggle to concentrate on a task. Therefore, they cannot fully dedicate their attention to their goals and often miss out on understanding the true meaning of life, making it harder to achieve their aspirations. Moreover, you may notice that people who talk excessively are sometimes ridiculed by others, while those who speak less gain respect from others because people tend to listen to and trust the promises of a quiet person. A restless soul often struggles to succeed because they lack genuine dedication to their work. True wisdom lies in knowing when, where, and what to say, and those who develop this skill often succeed in various situations. A quiet person often becomes the center of attention and usually succeeds in many fields. Observing the characteristics of great people, we find they use words carefully, considering what they say, contributing to their success. Conversely, many who talk excessively often resort to dishonesty and spread negativity about others, harming relationships and reputations. Therefore, those around them often distance themselves. 13. The joy of a father and daughter. On the train, there were a father and his daughter. The girl, about 10 years old, wore a small red cotton dress, her big, bright eyes sparkling. The father was dressed in an outdated, worn outfit. As the train started moving, the girl became incredibly excited, constantly looking out the window with sheer joy in her eyes. She said, "Dad, are we passing through the scallion fields we often eat from? They're growing so well." Her voice was crystal clear, and many passengers turned to look out the window upon hearing her, only to see not scallions, but a field of barley. "These aren't scallions, they're barley, used to make bread," the father corrected his daughter. Then the girl continued to misidentify objects. She described the yellow wildflowers as green, and a huge billboard as a small blackboard. Her father didn't show any sign of anger, but gently corrected her with a smile. A woman sitting nearby couldn't help but laugh out loud. It's surprising that such a beautiful young girl could be so mistaken. Though the woman had spoken softly, the father heard her. A brief look of embarrassment crossed his face. Then he smiled warmly, seemingly apologetic, and explained, "I'm sorry. My daughter has been blind all her life. She just had surgery, and this is her first time seeing the world outside, so she's a bit overexcited. I hope we're not disturbing anyone's rest." After speaking, the father hugged his daughter, advising her to lower her voice. The girl, taken aback, suddenly became somber and slumped her head onto the table. Perhaps sensing something was off with his daughter, the father put all his effort into engaging her in conversation. Despite his playful attempts to cheer her up, the daughter remained uninterested and silent. We often judge people by their appearance and hastily form opinions about someone from the first encounter. However, judging without fully understanding someone's circumstances can be inaccurate and sometimes grossly unfair. Before knowing the whole story or understanding the essence of a situation, we should refrain from commenting, as it can sometimes destroy someone's happiness in an instant. Humans start learning to speak at the age of 2, but spend a lifetime learning to remain silent. Not saying words that hurt others is also a form of self-cultivation and kindness. 14. Never justifying oneself. During the Eastern Jin dynasty, Chao Feng held the position of inspector in Zhenzhou, serving as a judge under Zhang Tong'an. At that time, a military school student named Duan Hongtian stole wood from the government to make household items. Upon discovering this, Zhang Tong'an was furious and wanted to execute him. In a bid to save his life, Duan Hongtian falsely accused Chao Feng, claiming it was all Chao Feng's doing. When Zhang Tong'an questioned Chao Feng to verify Duan Hongtian's claim, Chao Feng unexpectedly took the blame, resulting in Duan Hongtian being spared from the death penalty. Zhang Tong'an then rewarded Chao Feng with 10,000 strings of cash and a horse, and dismissed him. Chao Feng departed quietly, never defending himself against the false accusation. Later, Zhang Tong'an had to summon Chao Feng back. Over a year later, a confidant of Zhang Tong'an revealed that Chao Feng had accepted the blame to save a life. Zhang Tong'an was astonished and treated Chao Feng with even greater respect and generosity. 15. Silence is the mark of the wise. Ancient wisdom teaches us that speaking is a skill, but silence is the virtue of the truly enlightened. Why have the sages of the past always embraced quietude? It's because they've deemed worldly matters insignificant, distancing themselves from the tumult and disputes of life to maintain a calm as serene as a still lake. Nguyen Trai chose seclusion, befriending nature, neighbored only by a wisp of cloud, visitors but the verdant mountains. Nguyen Bin Kiem withdrew from society, seeking solitude away from worldly affairs. The foolish seek desolation, the wise, the bustle. The world is noisy, life vibrant. Everything draws us into an endless whirlpool from which escape seems impossible. Time flies in the blink of an eye, and it's only after events have passed do we realize our souls have been clouded by worldly dust, weighed down by material temptations. In such chaos, only the tranquil heart of a sage can rise above the madness of worldly delusion. Ancient teachings remind us, Remember this principle of conduct. It will surely make you wiser. Words once spoken are like arrows released from the bow. Wounds on the body can heal with time, but some words cling to a person for life, haunting them till their final breath. Thus, never speak in anger, a familiar adage to us all. Yet, strangely, when faced with conflict or disappointment, we find it hard to control our emotions. Anger clouds wisdom, and in its heat, we lose the calm and rationality to think clearly, sometimes acting in ways that lead to lifelong regret. Like the story of Genghis Khan in the desert, thirsty and frustrated, 3 times a small cup of water was spilled by a beloved hawk. In a moment of anger, unable to control himself, he killed the bird, only to later find a venomous snake near the water source, realizing the hawk had been saving his life. But by then, regret was too late. The hawk lay dead, never to soar again. We often think our anger towards others is for their own good, but it's like using evil to cure evil, stirring deep-seated negative emotions, especially resentment. Hence, media often report appalling massacres sparked by angry words that wounded someone's pride. Anger not only harms others but consumes one's own health and fortune. Love brings prosperity, hatred disaster. Understanding and kindness, even to those who despise you, sow blessings for oneself. Being ready to assist those who've wronged you means when you're angry, you're also closing doors on yourself. Secondly, respect others absolutely. Whether a monarch or a beggar, every life deserves respect. By respecting others, you respect yourself. You might think as a spouse or parent you have control over your partner or child, but such attitudes can suffocate relationships, leading to constant quarrels and bitterness. Children need respect too. Even if they're young, acknowledging their opinions and decisions fosters happiness and responsibility. In the workplace, imposing your views can lead to compliance without genuine buy-in, possibly driving people away. When individuals feel respected and responsible, they willingly fulfill their duties without the need for oversight. Conversely, disrespect can foster resistance, even leading to harmful actions to satisfy a denied sense of humanity. Thus, respecting others ensures a harmonious family life, successful career, and pressure-free relationships. Thirdly, be open to changing your perspective. Everyone grows up in different environments, forming diverse relationships and experiences. These differences shape our personalities and thoughts. Imposing your standards on others can ignite anger, leading to conflicts and fading affection. When someone seems strange or stubborn, try to understand their perspective. You might discover new, moving experiences. Parents want obedient children, but each child is an individual with their thoughts. Your rush may be their slow, your stride their scramble. They're not clumsy or slow, they just don't understand adult life yet. Their steps can't match yours. Gifts and preferences can differ. Understanding these differences avoids discomfort. Recognizing mutual discomfort can lead to empathy. Everything is impermanent. There's no right or wrong, just individual beings with their likes and dislikes. Only by listening and accommodating differences, like the vast ocean accepts all rivers, can life be truly vibrant. Fourth, constantly monitor your thoughts. Humans can control emotions and behavior by observing their thoughts every moment. Emotions are like wild horses. If not reined in, they'll trample everything. Ancient sages valued moral cultivation, reviewing their thoughts and actions nightly to improve continuously. These reflections help identify and correct negative inclinations. Envy or material desires, for example, can reveal misplaced values. Observing your thoughts helps understand what truly matters, avoiding waste on trivial pursuits or unworthy relationships. We often try to change others, forgetting only we can change ourselves. When our heart changes, circumstances follow. Constant self-improvement makes you like a precious gem, a beautiful flower. Goodness naturally attracts, and thus, goodness will find its way to you. Lastly, silence is golden. We've heard, too much wine leads to drunkenness, too much wisdom to boredom. Empty vessels make the most noise. Deep waters are silent. Silence isn't about being inept or inferior. It makes you more valuable to others. Choosing when to be silent shows respect and offers deeper insights into others. Dominating conversations can make others feel overlooked and hinder their chance to share. Thus, silence can earn you more affection. Silence allows observation of others' nonverbal cues, showcasing humility. Being listened to makes people happy and more likely to confide in you. Trouble comes from the mouth, so silence can calm anger and negative emotions without sharp words that hurt. Silence and secrecy also enhance trustworthiness, avoiding unnecessary gossip. Messages can be distorted, leading to minor misunderstandings or major upheavals in your relationships and career. Only by continually refining your moral character can you attract fortune and happiness. These golden rules are about controlling personal desires and avoiding harm to others, thereby achieving harmony and a joyful life for everyone. Ku Hoa is known for its many enlightened monks whose preserved bodies, even years after death, remain intact as if in peaceful slumber. 16. 18 Buddhist teachings on everyday speech and conduct. 1. Speak slowly in urgent situations. Life is full of moments requiring swift action. However, it's essential to remain calm, think things through, and then speak clearly. This approach helps the listener feel more stable and increases their trust in what you're saying. 2. Use humor for minor matters. Sometimes a joke can enhance the camaraderie between you and those around you. Especially when reminding someone of something, a humorous comment can prevent them from feeling defensive and encourage them to accept the reminder with good spirits. 3. Speak carefully when unsure. Life is complex, with many aspects and directions that might not be clear to you. In such cases, think carefully before speaking to avoid unintentionally harming others. A cautious approach makes you appear more trustworthy. 4. Avoid speculation about uncertain matters. Predicting unforeseen events is impossible. People dislike vague or speculative talk, so avoid making guesses or mentioning things that haven't happened yet. This shows maturity, cultivation, and a responsible attitude. 5. Don't speak rashly about unaccomplished tasks. As the saying goes, don't expect to embrace pottery without a diamond drill. If you're not sure you can do something, don't promise it to others. Trust is hard to build and easy to lose. Avoid making commitments on uncompleted tasks to appear reliable and trustworthy. 6. Avoid harmful speech. Do not say things that hurt others, especially loved ones. People will see you as kind-hearted, which helps maintain and increase affection. Treasuring and cherishing each other is crucial in human relationships. 7. Be selective in sharing personal pain. When hurt, it's natural to want to share with others. However, sharing with everyone can burden them, leading to mistrust and distance. It also gives the impression that you're offloading your pain onto others. 8. Exercise caution. When discussing others, maintain a safe distance in relationships. Being close is valuable, but moderation is key. If it's not your business, don't talk about it, ensuring safety and comfort in your interactions. 9. Listen to what others say about you. Pay attention to others' comments on your matters. It shows understanding and leaves an impression of modesty. Don't react hastily. Instead, calmly reflect to gain deeper insight. 10. Communicate clearly with children. Especially during adolescence, children can be easily agitated and overwhelmed by emotions. Use a calm yet firm tone to communicate clearly, fostering a good relationship with them and effectively persuading them. 11. Avoid discouraging words. Encouraging words are vital for motivating others and yourself. Sometimes, a single encouraging word can inspire change and strength. Even in the absence of external encouragement, motivate yourself. Discouragement can lead to a downward spiral of despair. 12. Refrain from angry speech. Anger can lead to loss of self-control, resulting in hurtful words to others or self-harm. When offended, maintaining calm is crucial. It's often better to remain silent than to speak in anger. 13. Avoid blaming words. Expressing dissatisfaction can lead to blaming employers, friends, or even family. Regularly blaming others can lead to gossip and discord, making life more difficult for yourself. Why make life harder? 14. Do not speak hurtfully. Insulting or hurting others may provide momentary satisfaction, but ultimately diminishes your character in others' eyes. The damage can be lasting. 15. Avoid boastful speech. Frequent self-praise or exaggeration can repel others and foster negative perceptions. True talent and capability are recognized by others without the need for self-claim. Humility is a more valuable trait. 16. Refrain from deceptive speech. Buddhism teaches the 5 precepts, including a prohibition against lying. Lying can have serious consequences, leading to regret and loss of trust. Honesty and integrity are cherished and respected. 17. Keep secrets confidential. Everyone has secrets, whether big or small. Treat them as such and avoid disclosing them carelessly, as the repercussions can be severe. Recognizing their seriousness will prevent reckless speech. 18. Respect privacy. Everyone has private matters they wish to keep to themselves. Likewise, it's important not to indiscriminately discuss others' private affairs. Revealing someone else's secrets without their consent exposes your flaws, and it may lead to future misfortunes. 17. The unmatched power of silence. In the bustling modern life where everyone seeks to showcase themselves, we often forget the golden rule: silence is golden. By speaking too much, we lose the value of tranquility. At times, we offer candid advice based on personal beliefs, thinking we're doing good. However, be wary, as being too forthright can backfire. Ancient wisdom suggests that when a person is incessantly talkative, their thoughts are already half destroyed by their loquaciousness. Maintaining silence and tranquility is often the best strategy for smart interaction and problem solving. Being quiet and tranquil doesn't mean saying nothing at all, but rather thinking twice before speaking only when necessary, and knowing when to stop. Silence often holds immense power, akin to the ability to converge all colors of light. Historically, few have regretted being reserved, whereas many lament speaking too much. In life, sincere people tend to speak less, as do those with ulterior motives. It's better to be criticized for speaking less than for speaking too much. A slip of the foot may be recovered, but a slip of the tongue is much harder to mend. The foolish speak nonsense and are empty, while the noble speak concisely and truthfully. Speaking comes from nature, silence from wisdom. The wise think before speaking, the foolish speak before thinking. Those in the know often don't prattle on, making it hard for others to read their expressions or tone. The more talented a person is, the less they feel the need to prove anything, often choosing to speak after careful thought. The saying, "empty vessels make the most noise," highlights the lack of knowledge and wisdom in those who speak recklessly to cover their own deficiencies. Thus it is said, "True wisdom is not obvious. If it's obvious, it's not wisdom." The truly wise use defense as their attack, choosing silence over making noise. So, When misunderstood, should we remain silent? Before being understood, we need to be open and friendly so others can understand us more, though not completely. But if you feel genuinely misunderstood or ignored, it's often best to stay silent. With someone who imposes their views, speaking out won't make them understand, so the best approach is silence. Ordinary people always talk about what they know, but the wise are always listening to what others have to say. Therefore, the wiser a person is, the more they know how to listen. Silence is the kingdom where the mind operates. It is where masterpieces, nobility, understanding, maturity, and reflection are born. As the great poet Goethe once said, talent is nurtured in solitude, and character is formed in the stormy billows of the world. 18. 3 Unspoken Rules. The proverb, illness enters through the mouth, disaster through the speech, originates from Tai Bin Imperial Inspection compiled during the Song Dynasty. It conveys that illnesses are often caused by careless eating, while calamities are spawned by inappropriate words. This wisdom has since become a guiding principle for living. It said, fortune comes with signs and disaster has its reasons. Don't indulge in wrongful deeds led by fleeting emotions or speak recklessly, for even an ant's nest can collapse a riverbank, and a trickle can bring down a mountain. Hence, the emphasis on the consequences of careless eating and thoughtless speaking. In life, examples of disasters caused by careless speech are ubiquitous. If everyone were mindful of their words, the world would likely see fewer calamities. Thus, a person's speech reflects their level of self-cultivation and emotional intelligence. Those who know how to communicate effectively avoid discussing 3 self-related topics. 1. Share fewer secrets. Many harbor secrets, but sometimes they're shared with others. Sharing secrets can be a way to unload negative emotions. When harboring negative feelings, it's easy to confide in friends or close ones, potentially exposing personal secrets. These secrets, intriguing and shocking to others, represent past actions known only to the individual. However, revealing them to those with malicious intentions can lead to exploitation. Secrets are deeply personal. They should not be shared lightly, unless beneficial to someone else. 2. Speak less of your past. Everyone has a past, possibly marked by failures or achievements. While the past can't be erased nor needs to be, it should serve as a lesson or motivation for a stronger future. Some enjoy recounting their past, often with regret about different outcomes. While this might not bother the speaker, it often holds little value for the listener. What defines a person is their present and future, not a repeatedly shared past. Discussing one's past during conversations might garner sympathy but can diminish respect in friendships. 3. Avoid boasting about success. Observations show successful individuals rarely boast about their achievements, often mentioning them in passing, whereas those less successful tend to highlight past successes. Everyone experiences success at some point, but it's not always worth mentioning. Discussions and examples reveal a person's character. Boasting, even indirectly, about success can be off-putting. True success should not be a trivial conversation topic. People are busy and generally uninterested in hearing about past achievements. Effective communication requires skill. Those who know how to engage others are listened to more. Unskilled communicators find few willing listeners. Therefore, avoid discussing secrets, past experiences, or flaunting success. Focus on sharing positive aspects of your life, and remember, we live in the present.